past, I think it's a combination of things. It can't just be through cuts and austerity. It's got to be through growth and reform. By growth, we laid out a multi-pronged plan to once and for all repeal Obamacare and put patients and families back in charge of their health care, to rein in the sort of things we just talked about, the out-of-control regulations from the federal government that are like a wet blanket on the nation's economy, to put in place an all-of-the-above energy policy that allows us to use the abundance of what God has given us here to make sure that everyone gets the education and skills they need to succeed, and then to reform and lower the tax rates in this country. I think that'll help growth. And then on the other side, on specifics, on reductions, I think a big part of reform is taking major portions of the federal government, being it Medicaid, transportation, education, natural resources, and others, and take them from Washington, send them back to states. Governors of both parties are much better at being more effective, more efficient, and more accountable in managing those programs.
Your path in Wisconsin as governor, you've survived a recall. You've got a good story like some of these other governors on balancing the budget. I think you have a surplus. How much now?
We went from $3.6 billion in all. We started with $1 billion. We used it to cut taxes by about $500 million, and we got another budget that will end up over the next 2 periods with a cash balance again. In fact, our rainy day fund's 165 times bigger than we first took office.
But in the process, you've nationally been known as someone who took on the unions. Are you anti-union or anti-worker?
No, I'm pro-worker and pro-taxpayer. We gave workers the freedom to choose. We made Wisconsin a right-to-work state. We gave workers the freedom to choose whether they want to be in a labor union or not. Many chose to keep that money that they used to pay for union dues to pay for their kids' college education or other things on behalf of their family. We're pro-taxpayer. Before, all the power was concentrated in the hands of the elite union bosses. We instead redistributed that back to the hardworking taxpayers and the people they duly elect. So, for example, in our schools, we no longer have seniority or tenure. We can hire and fire based on merit. We can pay based on performance. That means we can put the best and the brightest in our classrooms. And 4 years later, graduation rates are up. Third-grade reading scores are up. ACT scores are now second best in the country. If it can work in a blue state like Wisconsin, it wasn't too late for Wisconsin. It's not too late for America.